everyone, Tom here, Battle Rap Resume, back with yet another episode of the show. Hugely anticipated episode personally for myself. You know, I'm mega excited. These guys really need no introduction. They perform some of the most creatively exciting, genuinely hilarious, groundbreaking, inspiring, intellectually stimulating, whilst ridiculously nonsensical, rewatchable, technically impressive battle rap I think any fan of this thing has ever seen. Quite frankly, one of the best things to ever happen to battle rap. Shuffle T and Marlo, Shufflo, how's it going?
All right.
Hey, how's it going? You all right?
That was a very decent thing of you to say there, mate. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And we actually wanted to say something back to you, which is that you are listening to Tom Quee, one of the most beautiful men I've ever seen in the flesh. An absolute triumph of podcastery, especially for the battle rap community, and a lovely man to be around. So thank you very much for joining us.
And a lot of people won't know that because it is a audible podcast. You know, it's not a typically visual format. But,
and yet you are fit as fuck, mate. So well done.
Tom
well
is
done.
a beautiful man, and he's running this. So yeah.
Well done.
What was the first time you met? Do you remember that day?
I remember it as clear as day. It was, I think, 2009. We were in a film class together under the tutorage of Mr. John Marks, who was a fantastic man. He was a film tutor, and we, I think, what was the film we were watching? I think it must have been something like either Antichrist or one of those shocking cinema things.
It was, it would have been a really like ridiculous, depraved film.
Yeah, Irreversible, mate.
Irreversible, yeah. It would have been like the 9-minute rape scene in Irreversible that doesn't actually like flinch or like cut away from a single shot, and it's pretty horrendous.
Wow. Monica Bellucci, right?
Monica Bellucci, indeed. And do you know that they actually Caviezel, what was his name? What was his first name?
Cassell?
Vince Cassell.
Yeah, it's all the same.
Yeah. What was I thinking of? I think that was like
John Caviezel, I think.
Right, okay, yeah.
Christ.
Vincent Cassel was actually taken. He was actually dating Monica Bellucci at the time. This is a fun bit of trivia, but they actually didn't let him on the set for that scene because it was so visceral and so real that they didn't want him. He was known as Rep to have a fairly kind of aggressive personality, and they didn't want him on set.
He had a temper.
Yeah.
And yeah, you guys met in that film's gaze.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, pretty much, yeah.
I
feel like it was fairly fitting that we did.
Yeah, it influenced a lot of our battles in a way, that rape scene.
That's how we spoke to every opponent. We channeled a little bit of Vincent Cassel being off screen.
And how quick was the friendship from just being mates, just hanging out, to actually writing together, wanting to perform together?
I don't want to sound overzealous, but I want to say it's immediate.
Wow.
We pretty much as soon as
that
we
is
met each other, that's very overzealous. Zealous is way back in that. Yeah. Theo had written a sketch, or a short film as he would call it, I think it's a sketch, called Holding All the Cards.
Yep.
And he was looking for an actor to play the dealer. Now, obviously, I'm a bit of an Adrian Brody of sorts, really. And so he asked me, and we did a little film together, and we immediately got on. And
I think you'd probably still find Holding All the Cards on YouTube if you search it.
Yeah.
I think honestly that is probably there, and it's mainly a film that I directed that was kind of in it's mainly held together by a voiceover that Adam did, which was like you did that American accent,
an early attempt at an American accent, yeah.
It was a very early attempt.
And then what happened from there was that Theo and his friend Jack Lawrence, who's a lovely dear friend, he's one of the ushers, I believe, at Theo's wedding. Wrote a film, a short, sort of 40-minute length film, which we stayed out in the woods for, which is as dodgy as it sounds, and we were sort of working on that for about 4 days. And then me and Theo...
I think it was longer, you know. I think it was about like a week and a half or something.
Could have been. And then Theo and I started realising that we were both into a bit of rap. And I remember the first... I don't know if Theo remembers, I'm pretty sure he does. The first thing that we ever came up with, which was a film-based rap. And it was something like... if you mess with me, then there will be blood. We'll fuck you up like Tyler Durden from
In Fight Club.
Yeah. There was other stuff to it I can't remember, but it was a lot of film references because we thought we were banging it out of the park.
So the way it actually worked was like to and from like the set of this film, which by the way, like, so my mate and I kind of like co-directed it, and you know, we had Adam in it, and Adam, fuck me, he like really dedicated himself to the role. I mean, he really like you like lost weight for it.
Sounds like a joke, but
this is genuine. Like,
I lost over a stone for it.
So we're talking 2000 no, we're talking 2009, 2008, 2009, and it was basically September 2009 to be specific, as if I couldn't recall it a minute ago. But it was September 2009, end of like our sixth form. And Adam really wanted to be an actor. I really wanted to be a director. We kind of like gelled together like that. And Adam really took this role very, very seriously. And
like a twat.
No. I mean, like it fucking, the performance is absolutely great.
It's
like
right.
it comes across well. The problem is that we like never released the film because we just never believed in the script after we'd shot it. But like it was, you know, Adam like lost weight. He grew a beard and stuff. Like, your girlfriend at the time absolutely hated that beard.
Yeah.
She like
Lydia.
she called us up on she called us like when we were on set. And like, I'd never even met Lydia at that point. Like, we became friends afterwards, but like, I'd never met her. And she like properly started like berating me down the phone, saying like, you've got to make him like shave this thing because I hate it.
And also, I was drunk at the time because there was a scene where I was meant to be drunk, and I couldn't act drunk because I wasn't confident enough in my own ability. So I downed like a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
And so I was on the phone to my then girlfriend, just like drunk out of my face.
Yeah.
As we were trying to.
Well, I was a bit of a Ken Loach of sorts,
Absolutely.
and I wanted that realism in the scene. I sort of said, look, if you're going to be drunk in the scene, like you gotta properly like down this bottle of Shiraz.
You'd seen Sweet 16, you'd seen Pears, and you thought, I know what to do.
Anyway, this is all, and actually, honestly, I still have all of this footage backed up on a drive somewhere, and this is the origins of Shuffle and Marlo. I tell you,
it really is. That's the seed that grew the flower, that grew the petals, that grew the stem.
Yeah.
In other words, we actually very seriously, like around the same time, like we were driving obviously to sets and stuff. I was like. We were driving, like, Adam was based in Berkshire, I was based in Hampshire, so we were, like, driving to and from, like, each other's houses and stuff, and during that point, I had a CD player in my car, and, a bit like Feeder, and he, like, would like, put on, like, instrumentals and stuff during that time, and we would actually, believe it or not, freestyle.
Yeah, and we would sort of... freestyle over these. A lot of the time, it would be over like stuff on the radio as well, just turned down low enough so that we could rap over the beats. And we were freestyling, and I can remember so many points that like where we were just so impressed with ourselves. These are really early stages where we were watching a bit of Don't Flop, watching a bit of O'Shea at this time. I think.
Yeah, O'Shea versus Kruger. I think.
Yeah,
was
classic.
But we weren't massive into it. We were just sort of a casual observer. But I remember like we were driving around. Rapping along, and then I remember there was one point where I said something like, "Yo, I'll rap every letter of the alphabet. Treat your fucking mum like a household pet." And I remember like stopping and then fucking freaking out that I'd rhymed something that had more than one syllable in it. And me and Thea were just fucking losing our shit over the fact that we could like do a little rhyme, and that was really the blossoming of. Our rap, not career, but masterpieces.
That was your. But he's humble.
Nothing as grandiose as career, but our legacy.
And we've got to move past the juvenilia a little too quickly, I'm afraid, because there's so many battles to get into. You know,
interrupt us.
No. This is great. This is great. But I mean, you know, as you were saying, as you guys blossomed. You know, your sort of careers as a whole in Don't Flop, let's skip to those. We've sort of discussed these on the individual BRRs. You've both been around late 2012. Marlo, did it hurt to see Shuffle debut as a 2-on-2 entrant with Gibbo?
Yes.
That was shuffled, by the way. Actually, at the time, it didn't. I remember actually that time. I turned down that because I was obviously offered to. Well, Adam sort of turned to me. I think Rowan turned to me at the time, like said, like we got this. That was for the 2-on-2 tournament, wasn't it?
Yeah, distinction.
Yeah.
And I was. I just had a lot on. I think at the time I was at uni and I just had a shitload on and I just couldn't focus on like I knew how like ridiculous it was me even writing for one battle solo. So I was just kind of like, actually it's just too much. I can you know like when it's especially because it was Adam, me and Adam, like we would. Like it felt like it was a little bit more pressure kind of thing. Like it felt like there was a little bit more to like live up to because we were kind of we were mates. Obviously, we like sort of entered around the same time kind of thing into the scene. So yeah, so it kind of I think I remember at the time sort of turning all of that down, and it was like I mean I it was a little contentious, but I think like everyone kind of like understood the reasoning and everything behind it.
Yeah, the annoying thing was there was a little bit like, I don't want to sound like a twat, but there was a little bit of hype of the idea that we would team up. I remember MA, for example, saying like, "Oh, if you and if we were to team up, then we'd give people a bit of a run for their money." And so I was really, really for it, but I just couldn't. There was no way that you would have been able to have the time. And Gibbo was such a lovely guy, and we'd met. He was starting around about the same time as I started, I think.
Yeah.
And he was such a nice guy, and I really liked the way that he rapped and stuff. And like looking back on it now, like the chemistry isn't the same as if like me and Theo were doing stuff, but like there was a chemistry there. I think it just didn't perfectly gel. But I love the way he wrote, and he was a really cool guy. I miss him, to be honest. I haven't
he was great. I actually wish he'd done more battles because like we actually one of the first events that you and that Adam and I ever went to was one where he battled. It was actually he tried out against Quill.
That's right. Yeah, he tried out against Quill, and the same one that was the Bad Bars influence, which was J Wall,
Josh Wall, and Outs.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah, and yeah. So, but in terms of like Adam and I, there was a bit of like kind of, there was a bit of talk because we'd obviously like come to events together and stuff, and people knew that we were friends, and so not just that we had battled solo together. There was that like even I think people who like didn't know we were friends were just sort of like, oh, you guys are very similar and in also, style and stuff.
Lest we forget Tom Quee. There was, at the end of 2012, me and Theo had our first 2-on-2 battle, which it was filmed, but it was never released.
Oh, yeah, Pamphlet involved, right?
Yeah, Theo versus Tony D and Pamphlet, in which Pamphlet had one of my favourite bars that's ever been said to us, which was... Don't Flop is a ship going fast over troubled seas, and Marlo and Shuffle T is cargo.
It doesn't need,
Which was such a beautiful bar, and Tony D was drunk off his fucking face, a bit like I am now. So he was really not like caring that much, but he still swagged.
That was Pamphlet's like retirement event.
It was in St Albans.
Yeah, he was retiring at the time. I think he did another couple battles afterwards.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he battled Soul after that, and had a few others later.
That was the means to that event. But it was a fun battle. I know that's obviously not going to be on your.
No, that's my most wanted, man. That's my obscure media. Like I need as a collector.
Well, I tell you what, we were actually talking the other day about this because there's a little we had a scheme. We had a scheme in this battle because we didn't know what was good and what wasn't. And one of the things we liked at the time, I think, was schemes. It was sort of like taking the neck out of schemes. And Theo had a classic film fucking scheme because he's a fucking nerd and a dork.
But the reason was because we were doing an angle about how old they were.
Yeah.
So we were saying like, oh, you guys are really old. And so I referenced like a whole bunch of like old
films
and stuff. Can you actually remember some of the bars?
I remember some of them. It was something like it happened one night. All was quiet on the Western Front. Da, 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 da. Frankenstein and his bride are fossilized in.
Yeah.
They're so old they're convinced their modern times are simply gone with the wind.
Yeah.
But there was like a load of other ones. It was actually quite good, but like I can't remember it.
But obviously the crowd didn't think that on the day.
They did not.
And nor should they ever
No.
at any time.
And the first battle, March 2013, which is genuinely, I don't know how recently you guys have watched this, it's stepping back into history, it's incredible.
You mentioned my mum. I did. That was a mighty cunty feature. Never heard anyone undermine a mum. You lead it. But let me just say this. I asked her if she fucked you. She said no. And I, for one, believe her.
Theo was worried you'd bring this up.
No, I mean, I knew you'd bring this up. I was worried that you, when you would.
So it was 24 hours prep. You lose, but it's bad circumstances. I think the performance...
I think you'll find it was unjudged, Tom.
Yeah.
I think you'll find there was no decisive winner.
That's a promo 24 hours prep battle, Tom.
It's sold out club. tells this pointless story about hollering you shuffle at like around 8 in some next place.
Oh shit! I remember.
Oh, we were in the BFI,
that.
weren't we?
No, we were in the National.
The National Theatre.
Oh fuck!
Right.
Honestly, Tom, this is like going to bring up some stuff because we haven't I've never ever. I promise you this isn't trying to be hyperbolic. I've never watched that battle apart from once after it came out.
I made you.
I think we met. Yeah, I think we both watched it because we obviously knew like how trash it was from our point of view, and like that's an embarrassing thing to have. So it wasn't one that I was ready to watch. Back.
You were not a proud boy.
No, but I remember that actually. We were in a comedy sketch troupe at the time called Hat, and we were myself, Adam, and our
now accomplished stand-up Helen Bauer.
Yeah, exactly. We were all together in the National Theatre, and I think that's when you got the call.
Yeah.
Because the thing was, basically, I was supposed. So Adam obviously had the battle with
Jack Sexton.
Mm-hmm.
And in that battle, I was supposed to battle
Triple B.
A guy called Triple B.
Another Newcastleian.
Yeah, really good, like Newcastleian. Newcastleian battler.
Fine.
He had to pull out because of personal reasons before the battle. It was actually a pretty like horrible thing. I think.
Nasty circumstances.
Not nasty circumstances, but basically. Fully appreciate that. Obviously, he had to pull out. I had 3 rounds written for him, and Adam had 3 rounds written for Jack, and we were going. So I think off the back of I think maybe 5 days before the battle, Triple B having to cancel. We were trying to find a replacement match, and we were obviously both quite in our infancy with battle rap at the time, and I think if we'd been a bit more real with ourselves, we probably wouldn't have taken a match on 24 hours, or we would have taken it and just not tried to be as.
We were trying to be too intricate with it.
Intricate, yeah. We
trying to make back and forth schemes and that kind of thing. And
so if you can imagine us on the travel bus up to Newcastle, trying to pen rhymes where Adam and I are switching between each other with 2 bars or something in between, and it just didn't work. And you'll be able to tell me what some of those bars were and what failed, but
Rowan belled us and just sort of it was just so of the moment that we were just oh yeah, sure, we'll do it. But looking back, we wouldn't have done it, I don't think.
Or we would. I feel like we would have done it, but it would have been in hindsight. I feel like we could have done a 24-hour battle against Mickey Worthless and Double L, but we would have simplified it, or just tried to be let's not write this. Let's actually just come up with some ideas, shit that we can say against them, and then think of some Rapping It Darker setups, and just do that.
Exactly.
Their experience shows throughout the battle, and you kind of what happens to you is kind of what you guys later do to Harry and Crafty. You just sort of win on swag, you win on personality.
Swagger is probably my favourite attribute of mine. It's something that comes in real gallons, and I've always had it since a young'un. So ain't no thang for me, Tom, to pull out some swag on the old bag.
And I've been gassing him up since we've known each other.
Yeah, so
about his swag. I've been downplaying myself, but I've been saying, listen, Shuffle, you've got some of that SWAG.
Yeah,
and that is
and that backwards is gauze.
That's why I
wouldn't
have teamed up with you had you not had that SWAG.
GGG.
You know.
But yeah, I think I appreciate you saying that, mate. Like I think they definitely outswagged us.
Yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong, is a hard thing to do. But they like Mickey said something a little while after the battle, which was that every battle he's ever had has been a 24-hour prep battle.
Yeah.
I think in that sense he definitely he was right, and they did smash us. And he improvised loads of it. Fucking hell, improvise. I sound like I'm a fucking theatre study twat. He freestyled a lot of it, Tom, is what he did.
No, I think we were calling back there because we were theatre studies twats at the time.
Yeah, so they really did smash us with that very easily. But it's not something I regret because it really I feel like it made me try a lot harder for the bad bars and the compliment one. And also I choked against Jack Sexton on that same day.
And you were like, that was that one moment where you knew you couldn't count on me because you turned to me at the beginning. Beginning
of round 3.
So yeah, it was during Sexton's second round, right towards the end, you just sort of turned to me and I was stood with
I think I said to you,
Cracker,
what's
Frankie
my
in
first bar?
And you were like, oh, what's my first, what's the beginning? And I was like, mate, I don't know. And you were like, Theo, I've spat this to you 50 times in the last week. What is it? And I was like, mate, I'm drunk.
And it was also because
my battle's out the way.
The whole way up there, Theo just wanted to keep going over the bars for the double battle. And I was like, look, can I just practice my bars against Jack Sexton? You were like, yeah. Let's just do this one more time. And I was like, mate, I need help. I'm not going to be able to do this. And then lo and behold, I didn't do it.
And the irony is that I think our over practicing probably was the downfall on that on the 2-on-2 battle as well.
Yeah.
But so Sexton didn't go well. Oh no, it did go well apart from that.
Fine. And we sort of after that day, after that event, we both really wanted to try a lot harder. And then there was a couple of months after that, and that's when it was, I guess, April. And I think that may have been after the Gibbo battle as well, I think, or was that February?
Yeah, I think it was in between. No,
that's February next year, I think.
Tom, can you verify this for? When did Adam battle with Gibbo?
Oh man, was that in March, February time? I think
it was February, but was it 2013 or 14?
13.
Okay, so nice one, Tom, mate. So it went Gibbo battle, and then it went us two as the compliments and the bad bars. And I know that at that point we were really, really keen to improve the way that we were writing, and sort of we had always had this thing. We used to hang out in Reading and just sit and chat about battle rap and how we wanted to be a part of it. And we always said, I think if we paired up, then we could really do something special. Which sounds so film. But we genuinely were. We were I really think we could go back and forth, and the chemistry would be there, that kind of thing. And so then we had this opportunity to do it on Don't Flop, and we just really, really tried hard. And thankfully, it sort of I think paid off at that point, and got us a bit of awareness, which was quite lucky.
Yeah, and I think on this day when you did both of these battles, the Bad Bars battle and the Compliments battle against Big J and Lefty, I think you pulled out 2 classic uploads here, guys. These will live in history, I think.
Oh, I appreciate it, mate. I mean, they felt really good on the day. Yeah, that was the most important thing.
They're amazing. They've aged so well.
Yeah, they have. They really have. Yeah, I prefer. I don't know which one I prefer actually. And then the Compliments one, but I remember us being just so nervous on the day.
Oh yeah.
In I think it's because it was off of the back of that. Mickey and Double L match, and we knew that wasn't the kind of team that we wanted to represent, or the kind of pairing that we wanted to represent, because we knew that if we properly practiced and we properly did stuff rehearsed, we could actually put out something that would be memorable, and it would and that would be rewatchable and that kind of thing. And I think part of when on 24 hours notice Rowan called us in the National that one time, and we were just like so excited about like, you know, look, we both had these tryouts on Don't Flop, and like we're both kind of in that way settled in the scene. Like now's the time to like, you know, solidify our place as like a 2-on-2 team, like we've always thought we could be, kind of thing. And we kind of jumped the gun slightly, and I think we went for it there. So.
And do you remember that we actually almost didn't do the bad bars battle on the day because Rowan had said to us, they were a bit like short for time, and we had been talking before then, thinking we weren't too sure about the bad bar premise, which we had suggested. Along with the 2-on-2 compliment, we had suggested both of these. But then when it came close to it, we weren't sure whether the crowd was going to get it. And so we actually nearly canned it. But Rowan was like, no, I really like that concept. We should definitely make sure we do it. But there was a period of time where we were both really sure that we were going to cut that because we just weren't secure enough in the material.
And we
or the concept itself, I suppose.
So it was like there was a like strange time because we both lived together at that time, so we were like obviously able to like practice together for the compliments battle, but we didn't want to give away too much of our bars for the bad bars battle because we. Just because we wanted to obviously be like as much of a surprise as possible.
Wanted to make each other laugh, I suppose, is the main thing.
Yeah, I mean, full disclosure, like we properly ruined the battle for each other, like before the like I'm pretty sure like everything other than the towel flip.
I didn't know about your greater flip, and you didn't know about my towel bit.
Yeah,
that was basically like, but that was only on the day.
So most of the stuff we actually it was almost a thing of like we lived together. We lived, you know, like I was living with my girlfriend as well, and like we had another housemate and stuff, and we were like living in a kind of like communal thing, but it was. But it couldn't like escape the fact that like obviously like you need to like practice this stuff, and like, you know, it was and you like writing this stuff, and obviously, you know, Adam and I are best mates, so it was kind of like it just got to a point where we were trying to like hide it from each other for too long, and then it was just like, do you know what, like we can probably like
let's just need
like
to see
let's just say let's just like verify the bars in a way like to each other, and so we kind of did into each other, I think once before the battle. But that was like that would have been like a day or two before the battle, and then like I think it was still fresh at least like by the time like.
But we didn't tell each other about. Theo didn't tell me about his greater flip. Both the props we had, we didn't tell each other about.
Yeah. That was those were the two things. But yeah, I mean,
and that's why I literally laugh my fucking cock off when he gets the greater out, because it was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
You know,
and also the incredibly wheel bit you didn't tell me about, because everything was. So when he did the shit has just got incredibly wheel. I think I laughed.
And that was fairly soon after the Jeff and Caustic battle as well. But yeah, I think I'd forgotten about that. But on the day, it nearly got called off because we've been practicing together with our like compliments battle. We were happy with that. Like we wanted to perform that. We wanted to give like 110% with that.
And that's 10 minutes. You know, that's a lot. That's a lot of stuff to remember in one bulk.
Yeah, it was basically like 3 rounds, but mashed into one.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, really was. Yeah.
And, you know, when people, if it's not written already, the thesis on the language, the history of battle rap and its writing, a lot of people will point to Bad Bars as a huge sort of paradigm shifting moment. Like, I remember this battle happening, and I don't know if you guys would have been aware, but like people were live tweeting it, and I think put a status pretty soon after saying that this had just turned battle rap on its head, like it had really done something groundbreaking.
I mean, I think like the reaction to it was surprising to us as well, because we just wanted to like sort of have fun. We obviously, like, as 2 fans of battle rap, like massive fans, and we watched a lot of battles. Like it, you know, it was just a case of our opinion. Like we were discerning between stuff that we found good and stuff that we found whack, and like that was it. And then we just and I think I don't know, like that seemed to resonate that little bit more in a sort of like, you don't want to say like a sort of like formulaic way with like how the majority of battle rap fans were thinking, but there was like, it felt like there was something there. It felt like there was like a way of discerning what was bad and what was good, kind of thing, that worked quite well.
And I think one of the things I thought about at the time was just that there was this whole understanding that there were good bars and there were bad bars in battle rap, but like it wasn't. I say understanding, but it was actually smaller than that. It wasn't really recognized. People knew when they didn't like something, but it wouldn't necessarily be like laughable, or it didn't feel like there would be like the correct response to it, which was a lot of the time just to laugh at those bad bars and like stretched out metaphors and similes and horrible rhymes and those kind of things. And it was because it was one of the things that we were obsessed about, was like multisyllabics and like getting appropriate wordplay, framing of wordplay as well, just like making sure that it's sort of neat within a structure. And because we had seen so many that we loved, obviously, and there were so many that we saw that were like, even from our biggest influences, like O'Shea, who, you know, every time he has a bar where he goes, oh, that was terrible, like every one of those bars spoke to us in a way that we were like, that's so funny that he acknowledges it. And it would be so good to sort of like make one that's designed to be bad, the opposite of a battle rap. And
I was at the time as well, like literally at the time we did that, I was writing my film dissertation on The Room. Do you know The Room, Tom?
Of course.
Yeah. And so like So Bad It's Good was like super fucking like prevalent in what I even did like an article for the Don't Flop website about The Room at the time. So it was like, it was all tying in this whole like, you know, this is so bad it's good type you know, reaction to type mentality. So it was it was a big part of that.
Now choke a star and verb choke are choking hard, but choke. There's choking stars with joke, but choker bars to no choke. Now choking hard. Now choke a star with boats, choke with choker, choke. You're sober farce will choke boats, but choke a motive, choke. Yo! Now choke. We're getting choke. Hold it down! Say what? Oh, choke. We got choke. That's a choke. So, like, before you say anything, Tom, this is a divided battle between Adam and me.
Right.
One of us really likes. Well, it doesn't really like. One of us kind of likes it, and one of us like hates it. So.
And if you can guess which, you'll win a hand shandy from myself.
Was there a lot of hype, again, because you'd had two classic performances and now you were back in the competitive ring?
I don't know, I think at that point, because it was the first like proper battle we felt like we had there wasn't that much sort of pressure on there necessarily. I think there was a bit of pressure just to sort of like, to be honest, I think we were just worried about having fun. Again, we were I think we were living together at the time still.
I definitely remember writing this one.
And
in Mountain House.
And we were just having a great time with it. We were just really enjoying ourselves. And like, I wasn't, even at the time, I don't think I was very. I don't think I was in a great place with the material that we had. And then there were a couple of bits that I was okay with.
It was a strange one though, because so basically, like, I quite like this battle, Tom.
He does.
And Adam doesn't like it as much. And it's a weird one because we both wrote it at a time where, it was just coming off the April Fool's stuff, but it was also like a time where, you know, we were still living together. We were still very much like kind of like battle rap, like primed, right? And we were like well into it. So it was weird that I definitely at the time when we wrote it and the time when we performed it, it always felt like it was quite, we weren't questioning it at all, but it feels like it's kind of dated. So when we watch it back, like there is an element of like, well, we never write something like that again, or we would never write force multis that much, like, you know, like
and angles and just all of it.
You guys are not on a youth steez.
Yeah. And there's a bit where Theo says something like, and Verb, I don't know what to expect out of you, bitch. I remember, like, every time we've watched it, because we now and then we get like
Verb, watch Verb T's reaction.
Actually cracks up. But like this might sound a bit twatty to some of the listeners, and I apologise if it does, folks.
Well, Adam's like, a twat, so
yeah, that's why it sounds like it. But like me and Theo, now and then when we meet up, we'll watch through some of our old battles, and it's not because we're so arrogant that we're fucking, you know, but it's like it's kind of a chronicle of our friendship in a way, and we really like watching it and like remembering how we wrote some of it and stuff like that, and it's reliving part of some of our favourite moments, because it's sort of solidifying something that we've,
we also
been trying to win for years. We've been trying to do this thing for years before we started doing it.
We also don't get that much time to meet up nowadays as well, so it's kind of nice to have that.
It fills the silence in a way, but so when we do watch that one back, I find myself looking at Verb T and Joker Star's reactions to some of the shitter bars that we've laid down. And I think, so I mean, it's terrible. I hate that battle so much.
I mean, some of the angles are funny in the second. Like, you talk about Verb T's Wikipedia page, and you flip the whole race angle as well. A lot of people are quite a fan of that.
Do you think we could have got away with that nowadays, though, Tom?
Probably not. Not. But
there's a horrible bit that always makes me cringe so much, Thomas. And it's the bit where we say something like... we say to Joker Star something like, but here's what we've got to say, you're white. And then all the audience starts chanting,
brackets,
you're white,
brackets,
you're
Plymouth
white,
audience.
yeah, you're white, you're white, you're white. And then for a second, I think I felt like I was Tommy Robinson.
There is, honestly, like, it's a weird thing to watch back, that bit. And it's kind of like, I do think it's a funny angle at certain points. But yeah, the crowd reaction just doesn't like sort of, it's like too much almost.
Yeah, it's a bit
like
much.
watching it back, you're just like, come on, like that's not that funny. Like it's kind of, like you say, it sort of slightly subverts it. So I guess it kind of like surprises people in that way, and it's sort of like no one's ever sort of really. We like the main thing that we wanted to do around that time, whether it was like Confidence Battle, Bad Bars, or this, it was to try and think outside of the box, basically. And like a big part of our influence was basically battles that had already happened, and battles, the battle rap culture as it was standing at the time, and like battle rap culture has almost evolved the same way that sort of culture in general has, in that, like, PC culture has almost like taken over so much, kind of thing, that it's like there are elements that you just can't talk about in certain ways without it seeming a little bit like too much.
And for example, the bit where I say to Joker Star, you're probably one of Hitler's offshoots, and get dressed in, go to the changing room and change into a minstrel costume.
Yeah,
that bit, for example. Probably wouldn't feel too comfy saying that now. Probably wouldn't even want to say that to my closest friend or my racist grandfather. I'd want to avoid it at all costs.
I wasn't a fan of that, was I?
No, you weren't.
But it did.
I really like that bit.
But look, Tom, we were in Plymouth.
Yeah.
We were in Plymouth.
We knew what was going to go.
Say no more.
Keenan versus Euphorica was happening. So
That's the worst Plymouth battle ever.
Honestly, yeah. So there was, but even things like I think even things like using like the F word in the compliment battle, in that battle, I think we used it against Verb and Joker.
Yeah, we used the F word quite a few times. And looking back over it, it's something we really regret. We've talked
not
about
fuck
it a lot.
the other one, obviously.
Yeah, the derogatory gay.
Yes, yes. I did notice you say it a lot, actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
we said
it's really sad when we look back on it. Like, it's such a shame that, like, it feels like a tarnishing of what we did. And like, the annoying thing is, Tom, that, like, we've had over the years of our battling majesty. There's no other word for it. We've had a lot of people who have said stuff to us like, oh, we really like how you guys are sort of like the nice guys of rap, and you don't do like sexist bars or things like that. And then, I find myself thinking almost less of those people, because I'm thinking, no, like, you should be holding us to account. We've literally said the word faggot, and that's not an okay word to use in any respect. And, like, looking back over it, we really, really, really regret using those words. And I think at the time it felt like it was something that was so accepted in rap and so commonplace in rap that we felt like
the idea of like sort of demeaning your opponent or emasculating your opponent.
Like, if you're running out of words that rhyme with like the assonance, then there's always that to go back on. But like, looking back on it now, it's just lazy and it's so stupid. It's so like lowest common denominator and just appealing to something that we don't really believe in. And that's really one of the things. Like, I don't feel like we are massively against like making a gay joke, something along those lines where it's something, that's a bit silly and a bit derogatory. But like at at least it's not. At least you can tell that we don't actually mean those things.
Yeah.
But when you say a word like that, that's so laden with historical gravitas, it really, really makes us just look stupid and bigoted. And it's one of the things that we really, really regret. Anyway, I'm going to go smoke a fag out the window. I'll be right back.
And
well, it's just started raining. It's just started raining here in London, so we're getting a bit of hopefully a bit of breeze. But
as we wait for Shuffle to return, the next battle, undeniably classic performance by you guys, I would say, C Major and Cracker.
You need to stop getting mad whenever battlers address the fact that your head is red, you twat. Like, of course it's coming up. I mean, imagine you're against a man with legs for hands. You're gonna want to mention that. What have you got to complain about? You won this big tourney and got fucking half the prize. I bet you went and fucking partied, right? I bet you were burning money for cigars tonight. Nope! He used it to pay off his overdraft in time. What's next, Crack? Win first place on Mastermind so you can finally pay off that parking fine?
This is a title match at 5th birthday. I was actually there. I was there on the Saturday, and I think the original Saturday battle was going to be Yunnan Diz, but he got swapped for this. Is that right?
Yunnan Diz still happened, so I can't.
Yeah, but that was on the Sunday.
Versus,
hang on.
It was meant to be Tony D versus Chris Lees.
Yeah, that did go down on that day. That went down on the Saturday.
Did that go down the same day?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I think Diz still performed in a doubles on the Saturday, but I think you guys had made the headliner on the Saturday. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay.
No, I think I remember.
Oh
something
yeah,
like that.
I do remember something switching around, and then we had, we had the battle as a headliner. Yeah, because it was going to be like second to headliner or something. And
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we switched places with Chris and Tony on the night.
Okay.
Had to get off sooner than he had planned.
Yeah, and I mean, what do you guys think of this? Because I think most people recognise this as, you guys kicking into higher gear really from then on.
Yeah, we really like this battle. Have you got some bars and stuff?
Oh my god, I think the writing in this is pretty perfect.
Well, I mean,
actually.
you've got to run sort of some of Crack and C's bars as well.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. But I think, some of your one-liners, especially on C's age, are explosive. It was a hell of a big deal. You were coming on the back of them winning the tournament, and they won all this money, and you were put in the limelight. But you just flourished. I think there were so many people there. Was that nerve-wracking?
I can't remember actually. I think it was a little bit. Definitely, like I remember us practicing outside, not outside, like in the hallways in Stylus. Like just before it, because the thing was we'd be like practicing a fair bit before it, and then like it would get to like the cup, like the battle before. I can't remember what the battle before us was.
No,
because we didn't see it. Because the fact is, we were just out practicing in the hallways. But yeah, like I think it was fairly nerve-wracking. It was like one of the biggest crowds I think that Don't Flop has ever seen. So it was it felt special.
I always feel like the bigger the crowd, almost the easier it is to perform for me, because I always look at the crowd as one big audience member in a way, and so if it's big, then they basically all feed off each other's energy, and so there's fewer people to disappoint. It feels like, whereas if it's like a small thing, like when I'm doing stand up and there's 15 people in the room, and you can instantly calculate the percentage of people who aren't laughing, it makes it so much more nerve-wracking. Or if you're doing like a best man speech and you can see the faces of people who aren't responding, it makes it so nerve-wracking. When it's a huge audience and they're all sort of like acting, and it's sort of in a positive way, mob mentality, it really works to my favour, I feel like. I don't know about you, dear.
Yeah, I actually do feel fairly similar. Yeah, no, I feel similar. Like, it's a weird one. I think the more people there are, the more likely you are to get a reaction from some of those people, because something that you say is going to resonate. There's a higher probability that it resonates with more people. So in a way, that was kind of it. It didn't. Yeah, it wasn't. It was a strange one. Like, we didn't really think about the crowd size at all. I think, like, going into it, like, it was just more of a, let's make sure we know our rounds correctly, and like
just worrying about our own performances and watching it back, and like we pay a lot of thought to how it's going to come across online. That's one of our main things, and so we try to sort of aim things half towards the audience and half towards the camera and sort of things like that. So I think it was more about, if anything, we had been worried about how it came across online.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Obviously, like 1,200 or so people at the venue is amazing, but then, you know, the least of the battles at the time were getting about 20,000 views, which is obviously nearly 20.
I think the most nerve-wracking thing though was like this was our first big event, and it was like the first one where we got to meet all of these international battlers as well that we've been watching online, that we like massively respected and stuff. So like that was it felt big as a part of that, you know, like people like Bender and Lopeshi, and who else battled on that card? Like Diz obviously was there, like, you know. So it felt like the event definitely felt big as a result of that. But that was why, like, I think even, you know, DNA was on the card, wasn't it? Like we just basically took the battle before ours to just go out and practice our rounds, like I think twice or something, and then we just went on stage from there and just went for it, and it wasn't. Yeah, I don't know. I think
like a lot of it was like a lot of the concern is how it's going to come across to the people on the stage as well. Like that's one of the bigger things that we think about is, like, you know, how our peers are going to see it and whether they're going to respect it, because those are the people we're going to see time and time again. And so
100%.
As long as we can make those guys laugh, then that's sort of the real win.
And in many ways, like I think this was the case with so many Don't Flop battles, is that like if anyone in the staff is laughing, or if anyone on stage is laughing, if any like respected battler and that kind of thing like finds it funny, like there's this like ripple effect where people want to be in on the joke, and they kind of want to experience it around the room. And there's actually, like, in that battle, I think there's one moment as well where I think we could have got through this bit probably with very little reaction, maybe a little clap at the end, but that would have been it, were it not for Rowan. Because, like, the Friends Forever, Friends Forever, Penn and Teller, Pesh and Bender, Sketch and Censor, etc., bit was wasn't getting any reaction until, like, we said Sketch and Censor, and then as soon as we said Sketch and Censor, actually on the fucking recording, he doesn't cut to him, but you can hear Rowan in the background just like Sketch and Censor, like that. He's just kind of like and then as soon as he does that, and then like you see the whole crowd just going like mental for something that maybe they're catching some references, maybe they're not catching others, but it doesn't matter. It's more the cadence and more like the energy of what's being like performed, and like hopefully you can trust that these are genuine pairings that we're putting together. But yeah, that was obviously one of our happiest moments performing.
Yeah. Like, that whole battle, I think I've never felt more confident with the material. I don't think. Like, in terms of like the whole thing about, I thought, like, you know, Theo wrote that whole bit about C major gambling, and that was just like, I thought, really inspired, such a clever angle to take. The best friends angle, like them not being friends and us being the best of friends, which kind of like I guess set a foundation for us in the future to talk about how good of friends we are, and that being sort of like an ongoing motif.
Definitely. And while we're kissing each other's penises, Adam wrote that whole like C major's religion, like refraining from drinking like bit as well.
We were really just flating each other, just so happy with the material.
I love how you like, I reckon C just hates Cracker and Cracker has no idea.
Oh, do you know what though? This was like maybe 3-4 months ago. That I had a moment where I actually rewatched that battle, and I was like, I text Adam that specific moment. I was like, that might be one of the most awkward things that we've ever brought up in battle, kind of thing.
Well, it genuinely seemed a bit nasty. And then like the only other thing that I could think of to combat that, which I think is the nastiest thing we've ever done,
but only because they didn't laugh so much at that point. And like, if they'd laughed, like, it would have been fine, but like, anyway, go on.
The bit that I think is the worst thing, and this is jumping ahead a bit, Tom, so sorry about this, but is in the Dialects and Zen battle, where we go on about Dialects X being unattractive and him being out of her league. which we genuinely didn't even really think that much. Like,
No,
it was,
not at all.
It was just an angle that we thought would work.
We'd seen it in another battle as well, so it's
but like, I think that's the nastiest thing we've ever done, was like really go someone who just didn't deserve to be had a go at, who wasn't part of the battle scene, and nasty.
Yeah. But wait, so Tom, did you have any other lines you wanted to bring up?
Yeah, I love in the first when you're talking about being on the coach to Plymouth with Cracker. Who the fuck is Kennedy Spike 75?
Oh yeah. That was
that was a true story.
Yeah, you can tell.
It wasn't a coach though. We were just driving to the event where we had Verb and Joker.
Right.
And we were just with Crack, and obviously that's so embellished.
Yeah.
Like clearly, that's the most embellished thing. He was just going through some comments and we were obviously all like in the joke. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Together. So he was like throwing those out, just saying like, "Oh, isn't this a funny comment about me?" Like here, that kind of thing. We're like, "Yeah, actually, it is."
I'm joking. Like one of my favorite bits from that battle, like personally, was the towards the end, the scheme of the end of the third round, which was the open drawbridge and Trojan horses and Roman warships or whatever it was, like something like that. I was really happy with that bit. That was one of my favourite bits of the battle, because I love fitting in Greek references and Roman references and stuff like that.
Yeah, I didn't want to allow it in, but Adam got it in.
Yeah.
I mean, you won, so you became champs. Pretty much a dream come true, right?
Well, I get in a sense,
battle-wise.
like, I think we'd always wanted to be like respected as a 2-on-2 and sort of like appreciated for the way that we write. I guess in a sense it was a dream come true. I don't want to call it a Cinderella story, but that's really what it was, Tom.
You were back into the fire straight away with the next battle. I think this took place like 3 weeks later against Quest and Marv.
Oh,
was that 3 weeks? No, it couldn't have been that soon.
I remember it maybe a month or so. I think this was in December and the 5th birthday was November.
Yeah, it would have been a month.
I know that we were awarded, in a sense, we were awarded battling Quest McCody and Marv 1 off the back of that win. That was like something we were promised. That we would get a good battle, and then
get like an international battle,
and then I think like a week later we were told that we had that. So it must have been. I guess it must have been probably fairly soon after that.
Yeah, Tom, we can't write battles on 3 weeks prep, man. That's mental.
We'd die.
In November, mid-battle, one of our mates proposed and we're helping him pick out the baby's clothes. Because you grew up on battle rap, but it's changed from when you were teens. It's not the same stuff you used to see. Right now, I could get Shuffle to take off his shoe for me, put his face on it stupidly and inhale like he's Scuba Steve. Yeah! What? What's this? Yeah! Watch these purist pricks lose their shit. Don't hate on what you can see. It's the wave of the future.
I was really happy with the Quest and Marv.
Yeah, I really like that battle. I love prepping for it. I like performing it.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That one.
It was also just like a real honor, genuinely, to be up against those guys. Like it was
really, really, really was. It was
respected guys in the scene. Like
they're such legends, and they were so nice on the day as well. Like, and writing for them was just such a pleasure because we had this whole wealth of stuff to talk about, and obviously, like, if you know about battle rap, then you know about them. But a lot of the more recent fans, because obviously this was after the Lunacy boom and the Blizzard boom and the Grist boom, a lot of people didn't know about them, and then they came in and just like had this battle with us, and they were really funny and really like smart and charming and stuff, and it was a real pleasure to battle these behemoths of rap.
And I'm a connected guy in the scene, so I've seen an early cut of that battle rap documentary that filmed you guys building up to this battle, right?
Yes. Do you know what? They've actually I saw a thing on Facebook. They've actually now secured a DVD release. Finally,
awesome.
Like it's like like they've had some real problems. Strangely, like kind of with distribution, for the film. So like really, really happy for Craig and Tom with that, because they smashed that documentary. Like
War
awesome.
of the Words. It was called.
War of the Words. That's right. Yeah, it's great.
And it's so yeah, I think it's getting a DVD release now. I don't know about like a streaming release and stuff like that, but it's big.
And
so,
they followed you, didn't they? Like,
yeah. So a big part of that is us prepping for Marvin Quest. Yeah.
And you really flex your theatrical muscles in this battle, especially with the sort of court stuff.
Yeah, I guess that was one of the earlier iterations of the whole sort of like of us trying out the concept round and stuff like that. It's like sort of a miniature concept round. I remember that being our favourite part of the battle, actually, the whole courtroom bit. I don't think it came off as well as we wanted it to. But
I remember you sending that part of the battle as we were writing it to
definition. Yeah. Right. And he was really nice about it, and so thank you, mate. And yeah, we were really happy with that. And a lot of it we were really happy with. I think that Theo's Fiesta from '83 still gets me from to be is still one of my favourite things that he's ever written. I think it's inspired. I think it's brilliant. And
that was true as well, apart from the '83 bit.
Oh, and do you know what? Actually, this is another one of the battles where we have one of the most offensive things that we've ever said.
Yeah.
Where we were talking about Marv One's dad, and one of the lines is, he still wonders why Dad would have to go. I mean, how long does it take to grab a pack of smokes?
Yeah, but that's funny. Though.
No, but then we go, my dad is back at home, and that one I just think is like.
I mean, I think that like
particularly close to the nut.
I think that's like was solidifying the differences between us and them, you know, in many ways, and like and it's funny because we would bring like, you know, that Adam would bring that up as a kind of like something that's like one of the most like harshest things we've said, and there were obviously like so many battlers who have said like way like darker or harsher things and stuff, but this stuff genuinely, like when we're writing it, it seriously like comes up like as a thing of like, oh, you know, is that a bit too much? Is that like a bit kind of like touching a weird nerve and stuff? And it's like, no, you know, these guys are in battling like for a reason. They know that it's they know that there's like, you know, it's obviously going to get dark, and is you know, and I think lines are going to be crossed.
One of the things that me and Theo often sort of like, if we're going to have a clash, then it will be over something like this, where it's like, I think I want to be a bit too offensive sometimes, or like say something that's a bit like we've got a battle coming up in Germany against Henry Bowers and Nils Maskills, and it's in Germany, and there's a lot of stuff I wanted to say about the Holocaust, which I'm maybe thankful that Theo sort of pulled me up on, but like I really wanted to do it. I really wanted to say this stuff.
Well, we don't want to say too much because we still got that battle coming up,
and we still may say it.
We still probably will say.
Yeah, well, I hope we do. But like, you know, there's some pretty like close to the bone stuff, but like
it's only because neither of our opponents are German.
Yeah, so it's
so
just
it feels like crowds. It feels like aiming at the crowd for no apparent reason.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I love the fact that you do Quest and Marv with memory card. Beautiful multi there about the WRC tapes. I mean, we could spend hours on this battle, but we must move on. You lost to Wiz and Sizz. A lot of people think. Is that fair?
All right, mate.
I'm just saying a lot of people think that.
Sick of your attitude, Tom. It's winding me up. This interview is over. It's more than over. Nah, they battered us. They did. I don't think it was a battering, but they did beat us, I think.
They definitely did. They definitely did.
It
was so funny.
Yeah.
Sorry, voice the poor soul. On the day,
man, I fucked my voice, man.
He really did. I remember him downing a pot of squeezy honey outside, trying to get, because he thought like, oh well, when you have a bad throat, you have honey and lemon.
The worst thing is that I thought that
down all this runny honey.
The worst thing is I thought that had done the trick, and then honestly, I thought that had done the trick up until the moment when it was our round, and like I think they went first, didn't they?
I can't
remember.
I think so.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
they did, and so like all throughout their round, and then like just as we started, like I was like, yeah, this is done really well. Like,
fuck any style of clothing you've ever worn to battles, you stupid short twat. If any of your shoes were more flash, you'd be a Human Torch and confuse your doormat.
You're a walking, talking, all-conforming consumer whore trash Gucci porn ad. You're like if Michael Bay directed a movie called Swag. In battles, you state your chips stacked to the roof, which is a hazardous waste and impractical move.
This will do the trick. My voice is fine now. I can project. This is totally fine. Like I think one word, and then like afterwards, I was like,
You like Winnie the Pooh outside the venue, downing honey, and me just. Hey, can we please get in and just do this?
Yeah, and we had it was people were chopping like lemons for me and stuff outside, and I was just eating full lemons. It was fine.
And I remember that battle. I think I was close to seeing someone around the Brighton time at that point, and I thought she would come to see the event, but she didn't in the end, and I remember being very upset by that. But now it's all water under the fridge, like a defrosted freezer. So it's all fine. But at the time, I remember being particularly hurt.
It was a fun battle, though.
It was a hell of a battle.
They were great. You were great. The third is one of the most unique things I've ever seen in battle rap.
Oh yeah, the third. That's why that battle was something to us. Yeah. That's weird. We just said yeah in unison, and
but honestly, like just before we talk about that though, Wiz and Sears very clearly won.
Yeah, they did.
And honestly, some of the bars they had was so fucking funny. Like
Wiz
flies around like an Oxfam ad.
Crazy.
Like
your hair looks like David Guetta, or your hair's more wavy than a friendly person.
Yeah.
Your hair's more wavy than a friendly person.
Oh, they had so many cracking bars.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
I think the things that we were most happy about in that battle were the unison bit, which was like I think one of our favourite things that we had done.
Yeah,
and also the thing about them having so much money that it's inconvenient. Was
that was a really fun.
Yeah,
like, I don't know how we came up with that concept. We were just like, well. Because the thing
they
was,
had that song "Scrape That Money."
Yeah, Scissors did. When we got offered the match, we were like, actually, this is a pretty difficult one to write about because they're kind of quite tongue in cheek.
Yeah,
and they kind of don't take themselves too seriously, and obviously it's just much nicer to battle someone who takes themselves really seriously, so you can sort of like take the piss out of that and disarm it.
That, yeah.
So yeah, it was a weird one to write for generally, I think, and that's why we pulled out this whole like we're repeating bad bars in the third round. But in the first round, like angle about them like stacking so much money, like I mean this is one of the ones that I don't like watching back again. Just mainly because my voice basically, but like also because like we clearly lost and I don't know that. Like those angles didn't go down as well as I hoped that they would have done on the day. Like for me, it's mainly about the crowd reaction on the day.
Yeah,
like
I think for both of us,
yeah. Like for it's that's a more important thing. Like we're playing to a crowd basically. And we want everyone there to have a good time and like try and win them over in whatever way we can. So on the day, like we got some decent reaction, but it wasn't quite as big as like what I think we'd hoped for something like that first round angle with the money and stuff. Like, and I think a big part of that was also me just like with a shit voice.
You were very concerned about it as well. You were very, it affected you quite a lot that you wouldn't necessarily be able to, project as clearly as you'd want to. I was in tremendous spirits that day. I remember being very, very confident and being in a really good mood. I had a cup of coffee on the stage, I think, because I was just feeling so at home, and I just felt brilliant. And this sounds, in a perverse way, I think Theo's lack of confidence made me feel more confident because I thought I'd outshine him for once in my fucking life. And so I feel like at that because he wasn't feeling great, it made my confidence shoot through the bloody roof. And so I felt really, really at home with the stuff. And so
imagine Adam saying that about me though.
And so there were parts in the battle where I was just like, oh, I'll take a bit of a risk with this. In fact, what's that bit that every time we watch it back, which is every day, I think, we there's that bit where I say something a bit stupid in a weird voice.
It's great fun when I'm talking.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, there's a bit where I say that, and I don't think we had done that necessarily in the in the rehearsal.
Honestly, that is one of the bits that makes me laugh so much. Like in the whole.
We have a lot of stuff in our battles.
So over the top, there's like no need for it. It's just brilliant.
It's great fun when I'm talking. We have a lot of stuff in our battles where it's like jokes just for me and Theo, so that when we watch it back again, we'll like forget that there's a bit in it that we'll find funny because it's like an in joke. So what was that one that we saw, for example? We're going to
get to it. It's in our most recent battle. We had one, but
we'll get onto that later, I suppose. When it's more.
We remember it, but I can't remember.
And we're midway through 2014 at this point, and this is your only year really where it's just you guys battling together, no solo battles this whole jaunt.
Yeah.
Was that a focused decision, or?
I think we were both kind of like. Maybe a bit in a zone where we thought if we were going to write something that was easy to write ourselves, write together, sorry, and that was the thing that was getting the views really. Like our solo battles wasn't getting that many views, it wasn't getting that much attention comparatively, and so we're thinking that would be the better way. And obviously we wanted to be a duo at that time. We wanted to be a comedy duo outside of battle rap. And so I think we just felt that was something that we should probably focus on more than our individual stuff.
Yeah, it was a means. It was like a vehicle to project it, like the comedy that we wanted to do outside of it, slightly, definitely. Yeah.
And was there ever any desire for you guys to go to the Fringe or do your own stuff outside of Don't Flop as Marlo and Shuffle?
I mean, I don't think so. Like, we kind of toyed with the idea of doing stuff outside of battle rap, like doing things that were rap based as a duo, and we did try one at Harry and Chris's, as in Harry Baker and Chris Reed's night in London that they have called Joyride, where we did a sort of thing that was meant to look like it was improvised, but the joke is that it's so obviously rehearsed and things like that. And we tried that at one point, and it did go quite well actually. I think, but I think maybe you were quite busy at the time and we just couldn't devote the time to it. And I think we would do that if we had a bit, I have loads of fucking free time, but if Theo had a bit more free time, then I think that's something that we probably would try to do. But at the time, there just wasn't the opportunity.
And whose idea was fantastic?
That's a good question.
Whose idea was it? I think it was yours, wasn't it?
I think it may have been mine.
I can't remember. That was definitely when I was at Sigmund, like when I was living there.
I think.
And then I think I might have been in the month that you lived there as well.
Yeah.
So Adam came and lived in a house I was staying in Hackney, and I think that was during that time.
Yeah.
And I think you came to it with that idea, basically.
I think so. I vaguely remember
before
that.
the April Fools. I think basically Rowan sort of came to us and was like, "Oh, have you got any April Fools ideas?"
Yeah.
And we were like, "Look, let's build this thing where we call it. Yeah. So nobody knew until the day, and you could tell it in the crowd, right?
Just a can of drink and a twig. You'll get fucking snapped to bits and you'll end up with a shattered lid. I saw a girl walk up and purchase you in a pack of 6 and I went up to her and full on fucking slapped the bitch. We hit the forum and started moaning that we weren't rap enough. Please. And we were fired up like, man, I'm gonna smack this cunt. Just admit it, you were too scared to battle us. It's ironic you were shook and it gassed me up.
Do you remember, wait a minute, sorry, just to cut in, Theo, before we knew it was going to be fantastic, we wanted to do it as a ladder and a paper bag. That was the original, but we couldn't think of a good enough name for them. And so then we went through like a bunch of ideas and fantastic came out of that. Yeah. But I think originally, we definitely knew we wanted to do something
It's definitely more pronounced fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic.
The way that Kruger does it in that Don't Flop break,
the shout outs.
Great.
Yeah,
analyst and fantastic, that's what it rhymes with. It's analyst.
But yeah, I think originally we knew we wanted to do something against inanimate objects. We were sure of that, and then I think after a while of back and forthing, we came up with the idea of fantastic, which it turns out is now like a meme, and I'm sure it was probably it predates our thoughts of it. But there's a meme where it's like, oh, this meme is fantastic, and it's a Fanta and a stick. So, but we didn't know that, all right?
The thing that we did with that was like build it as if it was like 2 secret guests or something of like.
We were really hoping people would think it was Thesaurus and Ilmac.
Yeah, people. So honestly, like, throughout that whole event, at birthdays. In Hackney for April Fools, like we honestly like were just,
I think
we were just like when we were doing the rounds of talking to fans or whatever, like throughout the event, or just talking to people generally, like it was a case of like, yeah, man, I just hope they made it through customs, man. Like I just hope they, like, oh, fuck, man, I feel like one of them might not have made it, so like it's just crazy. Like, so we were just like fueling the fire and like spreading this rumor that we were battling like some international fucking legends.
Yeah.
And we were doing that like online and stuff. I think before, like on Facebook, we were getting on Facebook just like, oh my god, we got our biggest match yet. You guys don't even know, it's fucking secret. And we've got like,
I remember someone asking something, and we said to them something like, well, look, we can't tell you about both of them, but one of them's like from America, but a lot of people think he's German. And they were like, oh, I don't know anyone who fits that category. Like, oh, don't worry about it, mate. And they were like, is it Drake? It's not Drake. No one thinks he's German. He's not from America, you twat. But like, honestly, this is Fantastic is one of our favourite battles. I think. Like,
I think it's 100% my favourite battle that we've done.
I think,
and part of that is the trolling aspect, obviously. Like I think like, and so many people were let down by it. Like so many people were disappointed. So many people were just like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Like you had American fans like anything like, what the fuck are they doing in Britain? Yeah. Like what is going on with battle rap? Like seriously, this is ridiculous. And honestly, like that is some of the hardest shit Adam and I have ever written. Like, it is some of the best bars like ever.
And there's this
ironic you were shook and it gassed me up.
Oh mate,
come on, man.
Yeah, I wrote my best like wordplay bar in that battle that I've ever written, which was it's something like what is it? It's like incest. Yes. Yeah, we're getting pretty
dark now.
We're getting pretty dark now.
Yeah.
You stick to your own because your family tree wouldn't and branch out. Like there's so many references to the wood. You stick to your own because your family tree wouldn't leave and branch out. I've never been more happy with anything I've written in my fucking life, my man.
Your mother's a great oak, is said.
Yeah, your mum's a great oak.
I'd rather taste Coke. Your mother's a great oak.
If you two walked into a bar, it would sound like the setup to a really great joke.
Yeah.
The Amir Khan versus Amir Khan.
I follow Stick on Twigger.
Oh, you having a laugh?
Yeah.
We were. But like
we were definitely having a laugh.
The best thing about, or like one of my favourite things about that battle is that like we get to be completely serious. And like really as if we were actually battling these guys completely seriously, but like that in itself is like surreal enough to make it silly all the way through.
That's what I love about it, and that's what I think the reason why so many people hate it is the reason I love it so much. Is like honestly, this is the hardest shit we've ever written. We weren't writing any jokes pretty much throughout the whole thing, and that was the joke. Like the whole thing was that just like we're going so hard on a can of Fanta and a fucking stick from a forest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
like,
one of my favourite battles.
It's so fun to watch back. It's so much fun to have written and been a part of, like, and to see people's confused faces was.
And shout out to Fantastic, man, as well. They
were all right. They were all right, man. Like, we're not jealous about that too much.
Won,
bit,
but, like,
fair enough.
And I love your reactions when they get that round as well. They said no personals.
Yeah. I mean, we don't want to big them up too much, Tom. Like, it was a little bit harsh. They went a little bit
close to the bone,
below the belt, somewhat.
What you don't see in that battle is that, like, when it's their turn, we asked Bagnall to sort of like raise his hand slowly to like and that would indicate to the audience like how much they should respond. So they would like, it was as if the audience were like building up in anticipation to the end of the scheme.
Yeah.
And then when his hand reached the top, they were like, ah.
So Bagnall was like swaying with his camera the way he normally would with a battle, and then like just like going up and down like an orchestrator. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable writing there and performance, and so fun. You battled Dirtbag Dan and Caustic next.
Now, Lush assured us that we were going to get plenty of ass on the West Coast. Yeah. Even went as far as to offer us his family members. Well, since our plane landed, you will not believe the action we're tasting. I met a chick yesterday at Mandeville Station. Here we go. Her rack was amazing and she was Asian. We started chatting away and she asked me back to her place because she needed some help getting her mattress inflated. Anyway, I showed her a picture of my girlfriend and said I'm happily taken.
Everyone was happy to see you guys go over there.
Yeah. We witnessed Diz Punch match.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that and thinking, oh my god, Shuffle and Marlo were there.
Were you worried?
I was.
So was my dear mother. No, yeah, we were, mate. Yeah, I'm not very proud of that battle. I don't think it's a very good one.
I quite like it. I think honestly, like, I do quite like it. Like, there's a lot of good stuff in there, I think.
I mean, going over there though, being in a completely new environment. How did this get set up? I'm getting a feeling Avo was involved somehow.
Abba?
Who?
Avocado.
Oh, Avocado.
I thought you said Abba.
No, Avo was pretty heavily involved in my battle against Deadman.
Right. Okay.
In LA, but I think this was I can't
Lush and
Lush and Organic, wasn't it?
Okay.
Or Dan? Oh no, Dan. Dan got in touch with us. Like,
I think it was it not Battle of the Zay?
It was Battle of the Bay.
Battle of the Bay. Yeah, I think he was involved in the planning of it. I think it was Dan and Lush. I think they were the ones who decided that we should
Right.
come.
Yeah.
And Shuffle, what don't you like about the battle?
Oh, mate, I really think that, like, the whole, like, the Dan and Dan, even a Dan is an anagram of blah, 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 that bit, like, I think that was meant to be a joke, like a stupid little joke, and it just got so much reaction that I feel like...
Yeah, but listen to how privileged Adam is. Like, it's supposed to be a little fucking reaction. And then we got, like, the biggest reaction, like, we could have been anticipated for. Like,
right.
It was great getting that reaction. It was great getting that
But I just hated that people misconstrued it as, like, a serious thing. And also, I hated the whole thing of... Caustic getting pissed off and like hitting us in the nuts or attempting to. I blocked it.
I loved it. I honestly loved it when Caustic hit us in the nuts. That was the biggest takeaway that I.
You carried that swelling home with you, and
I loved it.
to
declare it a custom.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I think that I just didn't like the material that much, to be honest with you, mate. And also,
I really like the material, and so we can get into this.
I don't look great in it as well. I'm a very vain man. I'm a very vain person, and I'm a bit chubbier than normal.
I look like fucking.
You look
shit.
good in that battle. You
I look like V for Vendetta.
You look like Darren Brown cross with Hugo Weaving. Absolutely right.
Give us some bars, Tom. We'll go off it.
Will you sort of anticipate a lot of their angles covering 99% of what they wrote?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think because we had seen, especially Dirtbag Dan versus Definition. There was a lot of like stuff that we knew. Like
British.
Dirtbag Dan, like he's a really good writer, but one of the main things he does is like if you're from abroad, then that's all he'll talk about a lot of the time. He'll just be like, "Oh,
British jokes.
You're from here, so I'll talk about that."
He rhymed it with British jokes.
Yeah,
shit
you wrote. Yeah, British jokes. Shit you wrote. Yeah, like yeah, it was. I think it was fairly simple to predict what Dirtbag Dan had written, but like. Then again, what does that matter? Because it's like one of those things where when you go, oh, you're going to say this, and then, you know, usually that person shakes their head, and then they do that, and then it's still quite good. So, like,
and it's still fun.
Yeah,
it's still like a
it doesn't
great
take the hit away from it because it's still, if it's funny, then it's funny. And but like, what was some of the stuff they said in that battle? They said I can't remember. I cannot remember, mate.
Yeah, you guys mentioned Wiz and Sizz, which is nice at the end of the second.
Oh, Wizard and Scissors. Wait, Home of Fish and Chips, Wiz and Scissors, Little Mix,
Rizzle Chicks.
Oh,
No.
we had Schindler's List at the end, didn't we?
No, because Schindler's List isn't British, is it?
No, but we had Schindler's List at the end because that was like the
red
finish.
coats in this bitch, like the dress code of Schindler's List. That's right. Yeah,
that was it.
Actually, I love that bar.
That bit's fucking sick. See, there's so many moments in this battle I think are actually really, really good. I can't,
in this bit.
tell me to like rattle them off my head right now. I won't be able to do it for you, Tom. But like, but they are really good.
I did like that scheme, like that, because we mentioned Whiz and Sizz, Little Mix, and Rizzle Kicks, and Fish and Chips.
As the West Coast witnesses the red coats in this bitch, like the dress code of Schindler's List.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah, although it's got an extra syllable in the last one.
Yeah, that's annoying. That is annoying to Adam. Not annoying.
I mean, Shuffle, I love your stuff against Caustic. How he looks, his facial hair worse than Marlo. He looks like John Turturro and Barton Fink if he went apple bobbing in a barber's sink.
Actually, I was really happy with that because that was like quite a visual bar. I think I'd had that idea for a while, like someone going apple bobbing in a barber's sink and then coming out with that shitty sort of like those like loose hairs stuck to their face. I wish that got a bit more reaction. But the John Turturro show I thought was quite good actually. It was quite obscure.
Yeah, it is obscure. And you asked the big questions that I've always thought myself. Why do people keep talking about Aaliyah's plane?
Yeah, bloody hell, Aaliyah's
That was
plane.
weird because we actually got like a Aaliyah's plane bar against us in the Cracker and Sea battle.
That's right. Yeah,
that's
because
right.
her name was called Alia, and they
Adam's girlfriend was called
Ali.
Yeah,
lovely girl, lady. I think they'd assumed that it was pronounced Aaliyah.
so maybe that was where it came. Us writing
we've
that
just
bar
heard it so many times. It's like you're going down like a Aaliyah plane.
Yeah.
It's like like Aaliyah plane going down like a Aaliyah plane.
Aaliyah plane on the floor and that's it.
Yeah, Aaliyah plane, Aaliyah plane.
Yeah.
It's like, oh god, change the fucking record. It was about 20 years ago.
Aaliyah plane covered in cement.
Yeah,
That's Aaliyah plane.
Aaliyah plane. Like it wasn't even that good. Like fresh off the bat when it happened. Like
Like Aaliyah's plane.
like, have a fucking
Who
rest.
knows?
mate.
That probably every single bit of wordplay works with that.
That's like one of the times that after James Gandolfini died.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
After James Gandolfini died, and there was all these fucking bars like, I'll leave your heart stop working like James Gandolfini, and like me and Frankie Fraser.
Shout out
and,
Frankie.
And Theo were hanging around a lot at this time, and every single sentence at the time, like for about 4 months, would just end with like James Gandolfini, because it was just everything. Like everyone was talking about it. It was
literally just like, I'm gonna order an Uber, like James Gandolfini. It was just like for no reason. Anyway,
it's one of those where it's just so rinsed, the fucking Aaliyah thing. It's like 14, 15 years before.
I'm trying to remember some of the other bars that we said in that battle.
Oh, I can't remember any. I really don't rate it.
I know they went on.
Oh, you brought the treaty across.
Oh, of course,
the treaty was all right.
Because Organic was supposed to be there in the ring with us, so we'd
annoying.
written that originally to be like, because obviously, like, I think had called out Organic by name. I can't remember.
No, it was
just King of the Dot.
Wasn't it the like?
Yeah.
Was it after that?
Bender and Low.
Yeah, so it was the whole
Bender and Pesci, basically. Like he'd gone against.
One thing to say to King of the Dot. Something I did.
At the fifth.
Oh yeah, my
birthday.
punchlines. Yeah.
And there was all this like kind of
animosity between the two.
Blood in the water. We went there like actually genuinely trying to like
we did
there was an element of like within that angle of being like we can dissolve this situation.
We really
with
wanted
comedy.
to do that. Yeah, we really wanted to for them to be like, oh, go on then, and then just be like, I'll water under the bridge. It's all good. Like, no worries. We really sort of were half hoping we would have that effect, not knowing that, we're barely even ambassadors in Rowan's eyes, so let alone internationally. So it didn't come across as well.
And then also, like, Ganic wasn't there, and we'd written into our bars as like, Ganic, you take this.
Yeah.
And so we
offered it to
Lush was there, who's a fucking legend.
Yeah.
And so we were just like, okay, Lush, you can take that, and just.
Yeah, I think he did.
And it was a weird. Although that angle kind of weirdly went down well.
Yeah, sort of. Like I think it was Not as well as we wanted it to, but quite well.
And Shuffle has a story for when he was outside with Carter Deems and Head Ice came up to them after our battle. So it was after we battled, and it basically, he has a story for that now. So he's going to tell that.
I'm going to tell that right now. So basically, I was sat outside. It was just after the puncher, and me and Carter were sat outside, and we were both actually quite sad. Like, Carter's a pacifist, as you know. I'm basically as close to one as you can get. And we were sat on the wall outside, and talking about like just how sad it was that it dissolved into violence.
They were crying.
We were crying, and
on each other's shoulders.
And then Head Ice came out and pointed to both of us and went, "Oh man, y'all too bad earlier was crazy," because he thought Carter Deems was Marlo. And then Carter Deems, instead of going, "Oh no, mate, that's not," he just went, "Oh, thanks, man, I really appreciate that," and then just like went along with it. And then he was like, "Oh, it weren't all that good." And he was like, "Oh no, man, I really like that shit." And he was like, "Oh, thank you, man."
It still pisses me off to this day that Shuffle never brought that up against Shuffle when he went one-on-one with him.
That Carter never did.
Yeah. No, that you didn't.
Yeah, you said that Shuffle never brought it up against Shuffle.
No, against...
See, that's why you're...
Carter.
I hate you, mate.
We're drunk.
A little.
But the Dialect and Zen battle, incredible battle. Some of your funniest writing. The You Brought Your Goons With You is probably actually my favourite Shufflo sequence.
Oh yeah, I quite like that bit.
I love that bit. In fact, I really like this battle.
Yeah.
Despite how I look in it. Actually, have you seen there's been like a comparison with me and Rick Mail in Blackadder.
Right.
Which is fucking brilliant as Lord Flashheart. It's so good. It's actually like me in that battle in the first round when we're trying to like basically mean mug Dialect and Zen and my face in that is like exactly the same as Rick Mail's.
Anyway. There was a meme that came out a little while afterwards, which was just like Theo's appalled face, and then the text just said, "I can't believe they're talking to Adam like this. This is unacceptable."
Leningrad and Dexter's Lab is invoked.
Oh, hello.
Oh yeah, Crash.
That was great. Actually, let's talk about that scheme. That was good.
I really liked that rhyme. It was like because it was a bit longer than that, if I may say, Tom. It was
no.
It was catastrophic as Leningrad or crashing rockets in Dexter's Lab. It's like dabba dobba dabba dabba.
That cannon fodder is like we had like a whole scheme on that, but we were we had this like 8-syllable scheme that we worked on. I think it was only like about a week or so before the battle kind of thing. Like we wanted to throw in right at the very beginning, and it was that one, and we were happy with it. It was. I
really like that one.
I felt like it was like kind of stepping out of our comfort zone slightly because we were being like serious at the beginning of like our battle.
Usually we leave that to the end of the third to get a bit like serious and heavy, but at that one we opened up with quite an aggressive sort of minute-long scheme. And
we had this whole idea because like Dialect was getting a lot of buzz at the time, and like Zen, I think unjustly so, wasn't getting as much. But it was so we quite kind of like tried to like roll with that slightly.
Yeah, to be like Zen's the shit one.
It's a classic tactic, isn't it, in 2-on-2s?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the same thing that Dirtbag Dan did to Theo.
Yeah.
I felt stitched up at the end of that.
Yeah, I felt bad because it's true.
And you end the first with your new slogan.
Sorry, go on. Yeah,
the slogan. Oh yeah, the slogan at the end. I don't know about.
Are you not unanimous and Chris Lees? No.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was fun. Actually, we had to switch that at the last minute because Yunnan was supposed to battle someone else, I think, and then it switched to something like that. Like the names switched. Oh yeah, Yunnan battled Soul.
That's it. He had a one-rounder, didn't he?
No, yeah, he had a one-rounder because it was replaced with something different. So Yunnan was supposed to battle someone else. I forgot what it was. International or someone who didn't make it past customs. I don't know, but it was. But yeah, like originally that was like programmed in my head to say that. And it's harder actually programming something in your head when it doesn't rhyme. So that whole last bit of the slogan obviously doesn't rhyme. and that was the joke. But it was, but you know, it was meant to be with like some other battler that Yunnan was meant to be clashing against, and then I can't remember who it was, but yeah, he had Soul in the end, and like they had like a one rounder or something.
But we were really happy with that battle. I think the chocolate bit we were really happy with.
That was one of the favorite angles to write. Yeah.
Oh man, the only shells you pop are fucking Gullion ones.
Thank you, mate. That didn't get as much.
Yeah, they got no reaction. Obscure chocolate.
It's because I kind of flunked the line a bit. I think I said the only shells, you know, something like that. I sort of stumbled one word.
That was such a fun. Yeah, that was a really, really fun angle to write. Yeah, it's really good when you for us, it's kind of like. And again, like we're recalling this stuff, like, you know, 1 or 2 years, like after it's happened, so it's harder. But at the same time, like the most fun for us is basically like finding these angles, stumbling upon these like angles, and then like once you hit that kind of gold mine, then you can just kind of run with it. The best example. And honestly, like I don't think that like, you know, like we basically wanted to look at that his deal or no deal player profile, which genuinely did say that, you know, Marcus has a sweet tooth and likes eating chocolate or whatever, and just sort of run with it, and I think like, yeah,
another example of one of those ones where you just sort of find an angle and then just stretch it out, because it's usually Theo who does a lot of digging and is able to research and find these obscure angles. One of them was against Marvin Quest, where he found out that Quest McCody had written something in like grade 9, some sort of thing about the importance of reading,
right?
And then just made this, you know, whole thing out of that, which was really, you know, I felt like it was inspired from Theo there.
Thanks, man.
Quite all right, mate. Yeah, you needn't, you know, it's all love, bro. And so there's quite a few bits like that where if there's something obscure or something where the angle seems like, how did they think that up? It's usually Theo. It's usually Theo who's come up with those ideas.
Yeah, but I don't think that one. I think that one was like both of us.
Which one?
For the chocolate angle.
No, because you found his actual deal or no deal player profile.
I had a lot more time on my hands at the time.
You found that and then brought it up to me, and then we were like,
okay, we've got to run with this. And then
you found it.
And then like typically what we do is just basically spend like a day. We'll meet up, get together, and then like spend maybe like, you know, an hour just writing on our own sort of bars, and then like whatever we've written, like we'll sort of divide it between ourselves and like say, okay, you can say line A, I'll say line B. Yeah, you know, you can say line A and C, and I'll say line B and D, kind of thing, and that'll be it. And that's how like most of the time we typically do it. But then like there's other examples where like, you know, that whole like Leningrad Dexter's Lab like whole, you know, Maradona cannon fodder angle we wrote together.
We actually sat down together
and we were just like, fuck, this is a sick rhyme scheme, let's do it like ourselves and work on it. But yeah, like angle wise, like if you find a really, really good angle, we'll typically just be like, okay, you go away for an hour, I'll go away for an hour, and we'll just come up with like the best stuff.
One of those I remember that didn't make it to the actual battle was the Kid Twists and Nameless battle.
Oh shit!
We were planning to. Is this skipping ahead too
much? Wait, it's skipping ahead, but he's going to get to that next, surely.
Yeah. That's the next one, right?
Should we move on?
I think so.
Yeah. We'll move on. Yeah, one last thing on this battle. It was a 5-2 split decision in your favour. Do you remember the two judges who voted in Zen and Dialect's favour?
Nils Skills and was it Twisted Pennies?
It was Twisted Pennies. Yeah, I'm not saying they're wrong, but it's just interesting they made their choice.
Oh my god, that like genuinely seems like I hold a grudge, but I don't. I haven't watched.
They came to mind a bit too quick, if you ask me.
I knew it was Nils Skills, but I knew that Twisted Pennies was judging on ours, and honestly, like, so yeah, again, a bit of like behind the scenes ishness, but like I during Zen and Dialect's second round, man, I thought we'd lost. Like there was this moment where they spat this whole grime round, obviously, like in the second round, this whole grime bit, and it was just like, it was so well performed, so well executed, and like, and yeah, it just like properly got the crowd hyped, and like, I at that point, I was just like, you know, that's like, even after our third round, like I was like, oh, okay, well, they probably just won off the basis of that. It's the same like sort of aspect of, you know, looking at like 1,000 comments and seeing that one comment that is like a negative one kind of thing, and running with that. So it was just kind of like, basically focusing on the negatives kind of thing. And I didn't really see any of the positives that we really done in that battle until I watched it back, basically.
I didn't think we lost. I knew we were shooing.
Yeah, he was. Actually, to be honest, you turned to me as well. You turned to me in that, because I sort of said, like, when they were doing that, or at the end of it, I was just like, oh man, like I didn't say we've lost, but I was just like, oh, fuck, man, they probably got us now. Like I was like, you know, they probably got us now. And you were like, I think we can still do it.
I said these two are a fucking joke. Marlo, if you think they won, then frankly, I don't want to work with you anymore.
And honestly, I think they won, and that's probably why our 2-on-2 partnership just declined from that moment onwards.
It was really aggressive, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and we just got in a fight about it, and
God, I battered you.
Yeah. There were guns as well. We shot each other in the head as well.
Yeah,
I imagine
it was an angry night.
But it shows how, you know, well versed we are that we both survived gunshots to the head.
Absolutely.
And we're still able to come out of that and be able to write for a couple more battles after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then eventually the internal bleeding that subsided was too much for us to
and that's why we're talking like we are now.
Next two battles are on King of the Dart. And the first one, Shuffle, you're announced for battling on Blackout, and then Marlo, you came into the fold. How did this come about?
So basically, Ganek had hit me up and asked if I would battle on that card, and I think it was originally going to be against Kid Twist anyway. And then it was Kid Twist's idea actually to have this sort of concept where two people come in, throughout the battle and add to it, which I thought was a great idea. Really, really for it, and we knew it was going to be. We both knew who each other were bringing in and stuff, and it was all agreed ahead of time. And the opening round against Kid Twist, I was really, really happy with. I really liked my material there, and I really liked his stuff as well. His was really funny. He had the whole this feels like the inside of a banana peel or the wrapper of a Happy Meal about my hair and stuff like that. He had some really good material. And then after that round, is when Theo came in, and then after that round is where Nameless came in. And I was really happy with that battle. I think it was really good. I think the concept was spot on.
And you met Drake there?
Yes, mate. Yes. Well, Theo didn't get to, unfortunately. Yeah. Because he doesn't smoke, and this is what I often say: always smoke.
That's his mantra.
He came up. He came up outside. I was waiting outside smoking, and he came up. There were two Escalades that just sort of with tinted windows that pulled up alongside the smoking area, and then he came out, and I put my back to the wall, like terrified, and he bloody came up to me and shook my hand and said, "You two, you and Marlo are my favourite in the world." And I had such a stonking erection from this revelation, and I wouldn't even tell people about it if not for Dirtbag Dan being there at the same time, because he can validify it. Otherwise, it just sounds like I'm making it up. But Dirtbag Dan was there, and we talked about it on his interview afterwards. Honestly, I couldn't believe it. Like, even just talking to the guy.
Yeah, I think his opinion on like his favourite 2-on-2 in the world has probably changed since then.
Yeah, probably since that battle.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. At a time, it was there.
Yeah, we lived that crazy dream, and then you wake up.
And the compliments battle versus Pat and Roan is one of my favourites of yours.
Yeah.
He's got those Orlando Bloom attributes. I can't keep my composure. You've got those looks through beauty sleep. You must have been in a coma. You're the most attractive man in the universe. It's literally true. Camping test. Men pitch a tent when he walks into the room. Ray Charles said you're beautiful. Helen Keller thinks that you're cute. And Stevie Wonder wants to fuck the living shit out of you.
Mostly because, like, Pat's just cracking up at your stuff and it's so fun to watch.
Yeah, I love it when the other people appreciate it. Like, and like we always laugh at the other people's bars.
So Pat, I think, like, collectively for both of us as well, was like our favourite.
Yeah.
One of our favourite battlers. So it was such a huge honour to like get to battle him, and Roan, who's obviously like such a massive battler as well, and like we, you know, yeah, they're such like genuine, like really really nice guys, and so that's what made the compliments even easier.
And where was this? This was like a really interesting place.
I can't remember the name
That
of the
was
venue.
in Halifax.
I can't remember the name of the venue.
It was in Halifax in Canada, in Nova Scotia, and it was actually put on by Hopscotch Festival, which was like, I think Pat had a big part in organising the whole thing, and he obviously flew Roan over and flew the two of us over to do this. And
who else was there? Wasn't there like a big name there?
Yeah. So Rakim of Eric B and Rakim.
Right.
Performed literally after us on the same stage, and I think most of the crowd that were like there for our compliments battle were waiting for Rakim, and we're just like a little surprised because I don't think anyone actually mentioned to the crowd that this was meant to be a compliment battle.
Right.
I think that like a lot of it was just kind of like on the assumption after the first round of like, yeah, okay, these guys are like going a little hardcore on like how much they love each other. Like let's take the benefit of the doubt here and assume that this is a compliment battle kind of thing. Or if they had no idea what was happening, they just weren't reacting at all. But it was still a big thing. Like, and it was so much fun to perform. Like, honestly, like that is one that I will happily watch back many a time because like, so much of the stuff that we write is just like I enjoy it. Like it's ridiculous, but it's so much fun at the same time.
Does it ever get surreal for you guys? Like when you're on the plane over there to perform this, like you've came a long way since holding all the cards.
Yeah, exactly. We drank a lot on the way to Canada that time, and I think like you didn't get held at like customs or anything, but there was like no, it was on the way back. Actually, we just like took some. I forgot what it was. Like even like we just like we took some beers or something from like a like airport bar at the on the way back, and just like I forgot what it was. I can't remember. But anyway.
But yeah, it's mad surreal, really. Like to be like even to get flown out somewhere is such a like. It's one of those things that just sounds so amazing and is, and for people to really like sort of fund your hobby is amazing, and to go out and battle against these people who, from the very early days of us watching, we were massively inspired by, was just fucking mental, and like every time it happened, it was mental.
And both Pat and Roan were like, well, Pat mainly because obviously it was his. His place, but like they were both like just so accommodating and stuff, and just it was great.
Brilliant battle. Next one was a 1-rounder at the Roundhouse versus Harry and Craft D.
We'd be battling any time of day for a couple extra bucks, and yes, of course, when it comes to getting bunts, little Shuffle gets a cut.
How much am I getting for this one?
Oh, I don't know. Is 1% enough?
Definitely.
How about double?
Yes.
It's done. But for now, we've got to talk to the crafty baker like a police officer / detective that's been investigating a series of bread thefts in his local district and has narrowed it down to the one possible suspect with strong links to the area of the crime itself. And it's the only suspect left to judge. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was cool.
Fun battle.
I quite like that one.
I like the stuff we had about and he's like the double decker
Bus.
double-decker bus, another level up. I like that bit. But then I was actually a little bit wounded from that.
Yeah. Talk about this. No, come on.
bit-
Sit up, man. Sit up.
I was a
He's
bit
like,
wounded
Adam's lounging back on the sofa, but he's got to sit up and talk about this story
mate,
because,
definitely,
this is the one that Harry and Dan got you on.
Yeah, they did. They really did. I was a bit wounded from this battle, mate. To be
The Shuffle Tea
I
Company.
wasn't. I honestly, I had.
Well, you didn't know anything.
Well, I had no idea. Like even.
It's
after the
quite a
battle.
far angle. I remember telling Harry this at the time. Like,
But it was. I think it's hilarious. I think it's hilarious watching it back.
Oh no, yeah.
And Adam felt very wrong.
I did feel a bit wronged. I think it's the second time in a battle that I felt wronged. I'll let you guess the other one with fucking Theo, fucking Kai Marlo sticking up for Yunnan like a prick. No,
Worth it.
This one, it actually doesn't come across that. It's not explained that well in the battle. I think it would have gone down better if it was like spelled out a bit more. But basically, about a month ahead of the battle, Harry and Danny had emailed me on an invented email address that they had come up with, asking me to write bars for, I think, a best man speech for their friend called Leo. Should have seen that coming.
It's really funny in retrospect.
Yeah, it's funny that they called him Leo and I didn't clock that. But and they sort of paid me 30 quid, and I think I came up with like 4 bars, but I had no idea it was them. And so I wrote something like, "Your head is," and they said he was balding, and again, Leo balding. I should have put 2 and 2 together. It was something like, "Your head is the shape of a ball," or "You're bald as an egg." It's like a ball, but instead I can't remember. But like, basically, they paid me 30 quid, so in a way I was 30 quid up. Yes, please, bloody hell. That's probably more than I was earning a month at that point. But like, I think they then used that in the battle, and
Against me?
Yeah, against Theo.
Obviously.
Yeah, but I was actually a little bit hurt by that. I felt a bit like, I don't know why. Really, I can't really explain. It just felt a bit duplicitous. It felt a bit strange.
I think it's hilarious, and I think Adam's being a big baby.
I may be being a bit oversensitive.
I can see your side. I can see your side of it.
I was a bit hurt by it. I don't know why, really.
It did feel slightly like you were being used.
Yeah. Like a common harlot. No, they're not common, and they're sex workers as well.
I do think like almost the more disappointing thing was how, because Harry and Dan like are great writers, and they're just brilliant at what they do, and like I feel like it was almost how they revealed it, which was bad, because like I still didn't understand what they were talking about until my round. So it was a weird thing where it was like I saw Adam doing these flips about this angle that I still didn't quite grasp at that point.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it was so that was quite funny. But yeah, so I feel like they could have revealed it a little bit stronger. But yeah.
And we see a rare angle from Kraft and Harry, where basically it's to you, Shuffle, and it's like, you're an atheist, and that's their angle against you.
Yeah, they had a thing about like
getting God delusion and...
Yeah, exactly, for like a nephew or something like that. It was like, I thought it was quite a nice angle. It's sort of like as if I was one of those people who sort of, what's the word? Not profligates. What's that fucking word? That
proselytizes?
Proselytizes. Yeah. Yeah, as if I was one of those people, which I think is believable. As much as I hate that, it is. So yeah, I think that was quite a good angle, really. And yeah, I do like that kind of stuff as well. I watched a lot of Richard Dawkins, a lot of Christopher Hitchens, and things like that.
Right.
So I think they kind of did. I would never. I'm not the kind of guy who would try to be like, you think that, do you? But like. I think it's believable enough that it did work quite well.
And the final battle, this came out April 2017. We're recording this in August 2018.
Peace Soldier was there for work. He had a +1, which he offered straight to Zen. So why the fuck were you there? Oh, do you want a holiday with friends? Matter must have asked to join them. I mean, like, what did he say to them? Can you imagine how awkwardly that conversation went.
Marlo, what's your memories of Matter and P Soldier?
Good,
I'd
generally.
imagine quite good because we watched it about half an hour before this podcast, mate.
Yeah, we
Right.
did. I really like this battle.
As do I.
Generally, and honestly, Matter and P Soldier was so fucking good.
Yeah, they were so.
Like they're honestly, there's so many underrated bars. I think from both teams actually. Our first round went down really really well with the crowd, but like generally the rest of the battle has so many like slept on moments that I think are just really really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. What were some of your favourite moments, Tom?
Go on, Tom. Tell us, Tom.
I just, when you sort of, I don't know, it felt like Don't Flop was in disarray at this point. Obviously, it was to a certain extent. And you guys hugging each other and saying, well, I guess we better go and save Battle Rap again. I remember seeing that live and, it brought a tear to the eye.
Did it really? It didn't bring a tear.
It didn't bring a tear, but it moved me.
That's beautiful.
Awesome, man. Like, seriously, I don't know, like, when we wrote that, we were just sort of feeling ourselves a bit. It wasn't even like a moment of like, oh, people will react to this or anything. Like, we'll just like, honestly, when we wrote that, it was like, oh, let's just be kind of dickheads for a moment.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like obviously, we're not going to be the one to say that, but then it was like, we'll just write that and just feel ourselves for a second and like, yeah, maybe people like it or not.
So yeah, you were in the first when you did that, because you were just flexing basically. Technically, you were showing off a lot of rhythmic stuff that you could do. I love the Scooby-Doo and the switching room to room.
Oh yeah, we were very happy with that bit.
So we had that written originally for K-Shine and DNA.
Oh, of course, yeah. What a shame that didn't go down.
Yeah, so that I think was the only bit that we recycled from. We didn't even recycle it. We kind of remodeled it slightly for that battle because originally it was all about like you can't fucking beat the people in the UK kind of thing, and it was about the international like level kind of thing. And so I can't remember exactly the wording that we reused for it, but like we reworded it for Matter and P that in a way that was about being the best in the UK or whatever, or being the best in Britain.
There's something about like all you do is go back and forth. Like you just say something and then switch it through to you,
right.
And then click and move.
Yeah.
But like I think when it was about K-Shine and DNA, it was about how well they did that. But because we were saying that they copied our style, of going back and forth.
That's the interesting part. Yeah, because
the next thing, yeah.
Because we didn't when we did it against Matter and P, it was way more about like. You can't do this or whatever, like we were trying to show off like, oh, you this is something you can't achieve, like it's the level of like fucking like practicing and nerding out that you can't achieve. But when we originally wrote that for DNA and K-Shine, it was about like, this is all you do, and in that same vein trying to expose how well or how much we practiced or how much we've written for it.
And a rare thing from you guys in your second, you do impressions of Matter and P.
Yeah, I mean, watching that back is not like our proudest moment ever. It doesn't go down as well as we kind of would have wanted, like the impressions in the second round, but it's we still kind of find it funny, Those,
I think they were quite good impressions, really.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, they're pretty decent, but like, I don't know, like they like
they didn't smash it.
They didn't smash it,
and impressions are usually a surefire way to get the crowd on side, and that did not do that.
It was a little too confusing because it was like, fucking hell, we're getting so many props out.
Yeah,
like
it's a prop heavy battle.
What is going on? Yeah.
And that's the last we've seen of you, and presumably until the end of the year. Was there a decision between you with maybe Don't Flop not being around? You weren't going to battle much as a 2-on-2, or?
I think Don't Flop not being as prevalent was a bit of an instigator for our decision to not battle as
prevalent. Yeah.
Yeah, as prevalently. But I think even if it was, as big as it used to be, I still don't know if we would necessarily. I think it's just something that's a bit time consuming for us, and like
right.
Without sounding too I don't know if derivative is the word, but like without sounding too, like we don't want to put it down in any way, but I think we got kind of everything we wanted to get from battle rap in a sense, and anything else just felt like a bit of a risk, like we might harm the stuff that we had done in the past if we didn't live up to expectations and things like that. I think Kruger felt very similarly as well after his most recent battle. Just like, the pressure's so on for any other battles that it kind of feels like it's a huge risk. And we've got this one at the end of the year, and without sounding crass, like that was because the opportunity was paying a bit more than we would have normally asked for, and so we felt really privileged and like we couldn't say no to that opportunity, without being too gauche or whatever. But like, it was kind of a conscious decision, but also kind of just one. It just felt a bit like a natural sort of end to it. Don't Flop wasn't as big anymore. Don't Flop was sort of like having real tumultuous times, and so I think we just felt like maybe take that as a bit of a sign and try to veer away from it a bit. We may still have more in the future. I think
Definitely.
There's always the possibility.
I think it's a weird thing where it's like never say never, and we both kind of have the same love for battle rap that we kind of always have in terms of like watching it, and as fans and stuff, like we're always fans of battle rap. We're always like watching battles and things, but like you know, we both have like very busy lives, and actually don't get like moments like this, to be honest, like where we actually get to like meet up and chill out and spend time together as much as we would like. So it's kind of it like in terms of like a love for battle rap and everything like that, that's not going to go away. It's just for the kind of for the effort that we were putting in, for the for how much we were actually giving to every single battle, every single like card that we were put on, anything like, in fact, not even just cards, but like just other things that we were doing, where we were just like battling at weddings, or like we were doing all that kind of thing, like, and we enjoyed it so much, and there was like so much love that we would get out of it, and there'd be so much fun that we would get out of it. But it's just a very it takes so much, like from the two of us, in terms of like the energy that we need to put into it to actually deliver to that standard. And now that we've almost set like that bar so high realistically for ourselves, that's what it feels like. It just feels like we have a bar to reach, kind of thing, and it's hard to reach, and it takes every event or everything that we agree to, basically, is like, or everything that we go full steam ahead and do is like a new challenge. And in many ways that's good, but in many ways that's like setting the bar again another notch higher for ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's just who we are. That's just the two of us. Like, that's just the kind of expectations that we kind of set for ourselves, I guess. And I hope that that's why, like, our battles hopefully are enjoyable and hopefully are entertaining, is because we put that into it.
Yeah,
to an extent.
Well, I mean, your back catalogue, I think, is unparalleled in terms of consistency and quality.
So say again,
mate. Sorry.
Just your back catalogue of battles. Like, if you go on the Shuffle T and Marlo verse tracker page, in terms of quality, in terms of rewatchability, consistency, it's unparalleled.
Oh, thank you, mate. I don't know about that, but I mean, as long as people watch it and they like it, that's the best thing, really.
100%, yeah.
Like, and if there's any opportunities we can get off the back of that, like, we're so grateful to Don't Flop as a whole and the battle rap community as a whole. Like, they've been so supportive throughout the whole process of this, and we've had so many opportunities. We've been so lucky from it that it's if people like it and enjoy it, and people think we can do other stuff, in comedy and that kind of thing, that's the most important thing for us.
It's been so much fun, and we never expected it to
No,
we never expected people to
not really
to enjoy what we do that much, kind of thing, and enjoy. Because the thing about battles is, it's not like a music set. You prepare this one thing.
Yeah, it's
for one. It's a one-off. It's a one-off event, and you will never. That's not like a music set where you've got like a certain number of like tracks in a set list that you've got to you're going to perform.
Or stand-up comedy, or a stage play, or anything like that.
Every single one of these has been a one-off for us. Every single time we've spent the time, we've put the effort into to make it as best we can for that time.
Yeah. And final question. I tried out in Don't Flop, and Shuffle, you're actually there. I remember I was very nervous because you were there. Soliloquy, yeah. And I remember I did a Turner bar, a JMW Turner bar, and I think you're the only guy in the audience who nods his head. And you came up to me afterwards when we were talking, and you mentioned, or I think I'd seen something on your Twitter or something, and I mentioned to you, you guys maybe had a Channel 4 thing potentially. What was that about?
So we did a thing with which was on Channel 4. It was on
the
4OD, which was Bagnall directed some of it, and it was basically everyday battle raps. I think.
Is that what you were thinking of?
No, it wasn't. No, I think there was some sort of other show optioned by. You guys were involved in it, battle rap wise.
Maybe we had a few things that
we had a script that we had written, which was called Wordsmiths, which was about an exaggerated version of our time in battle rap,
right?
And that was sort of going around the houses with production companies and things like that. I don't think it ever got to Channel 4, but it could have.
I'll tell you what, if there's anyone listening who who has that kind of connection and would like to
hit us up.
Make a battle rap sitcom, it could be.
It's about blood time, is what I say.
It's not just that it could be, but it could be very good.
Yeah, it could be.
Well, I guess finally, guys, how do people get at you? Anything to promote, or?
They can come see me to my fucking face, mate. Find me on the streets of North London, repping my set. What the fuck is up? Keep my name out your mouth. @shuffle_T is where you find me, and also @shuffle_1 on Instagram, and Adam Woolard on Facebook. How you find? Look me up.
@Marlo Rapper. I need to change that handle. But @Marlo Rapper is where you find me on Twitter for now. But don't take anything that Adam just said lightly, because he's a stone cold fucking killer.
Mate, if I see you, Tom, or any other motherfucker on the street, especially you though, Tom, I swear to God, mate, I'll end you. And that goes for all you punks.
Your top is really nice, actually.
Thank you, mate.
It's it's nice green. It's a
green ribbed number.
It complements Adam's eyes really nicely.
I really appreciate that. It's a bit of it's sort of, I like to think it's reminiscent of sort of Kurt Cobain's outfits that he used to wear on MTV and that kind of thing. The sort of shaggy chic. It's got.
That's what you like to think.
That's what I like to think. What I actually think is that it's a fucking green piece of shit. Before we do go, I think we'd both like to say R.I.P. to Bender.
Of course, yeah.
It's really been noticeable, his lack of presence, even just on fucking line and his battles, and it was a real tragedy to see someone so incredibly talented go at such a young age.
It was a really sad day.
He really is one of our biggest influences in the way that we write, and the schemes that we come up with are all sort of based on him, really. And our appreciation for
everything he did in terms of his technicality of writing, the way he put together anything, was just
He was such a fucking treasure, and I can't stop listening to Tree of Smoke on repeat, one of his tracks, and it was an absolute diamond. He came to see me actually a little bit before he passed, about 4 months before. he didn't come to see me, obviously. He was over in the UK battling Frankie, and he came over to one of my stand-up comedy sets to see me, and I've got a recording of it, and you can hear him laughing all the way through. And
that's the thing. He didn't have to do that.
He didn't have
to support. He didn't have to support in that way. He didn't have to like.
He came half the way across London and was the only person in there laughing, and I know it was out of support, and it was just so touching. And I've got that recording still, and he was such a beautiful man, and think about him often, and he's a real triumph to the battle rap community, and a treasure. And so yeah, big shout outs to him.
Yeah, well said, definitely well said. And I want to say again, thank you so much for you guys coming on as well. It's been a privilege. It's been so great to finally do this. We haven't really done justice to the back catalogue, but it'd have to be some sort of Ken Burns 10-part, retrospective or some shit.
Look, we can probably do this again. I'm sure we can do this again. If you drunk again. But here's the thing: we need to do one where you can like say bars back to us as well, Tom, and then we can we can get into it.
Yeah.
And just go into each one.
Yeah. I look forward to
that. Like for us, every time, like I think Adam said it quite early on in the recording, is that like whenever we watch battles back, it's kind of like a time capsule for us, and it's like watching back on our friendship and like things that we've achieved as a team kind of thing. So it's it's always a lot of fun. It's always it does a lot for us basically to go back into this stuff and chat about it. So yeah. Thanks, man. Thanks for having us on.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
It's really good to hear from you again.
No, definitely, guys. I want to.
What's the next battle going to be?
Yeah, come on, little.
No, I can't. Maybe in the future, but I don't know. The Briggsy one was just.
Of course, you're not going to do one in the past.
The Briggsy one was such a crash and burn, though. It was so.
Do you know what? I still haven't seen that.
Don't watch it.
Okay, right, we're gonna watch this Briggsy one right after this call. I swear,
Hopefully, no one else will. But Shuffle, Marlo, thanks again, guys.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks so much, man.